Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a large and lovely Breitling Montbrillant Legende. You can see this watch, 47 millimeters in diameter, is a sizable offering, and unusually for Breitling, integrated bracelet. So 47 in diameter, you can see 14.9 millimeters thick, 59 millimeters from lug to lug, and because the bracelet doesn't project beyond the lugs, that 59 millimeter measurement is the distance across the wrist. The Montbrillant Legende was later renamed the Montbrillant 47, so same thing, just keep in mind the terminology of this watch shifted over time. The model itself did not change. Taking a quick look on my wrist, you can see it actually fits better than I would have expected for something 47 millimeters in diameter, almost 60 millimeters across. It is too big, but I believe that if your wrist is just a little bit larger than mine, 17 centimeters circumference, you should wear this just fine. It actually sits quite comfortably, and that's all down to the tapering of the lugs as opposed to the more squared off design that you commonly see on Navitimer and Navitimer adjacent models at Breitling. Now, getting a little bit closer, we'll take a look at this bracelet. While it is integrated, it's also visibly part of the Navitimer bracelet family. That's a 7-link, not to be confused with the 5-link Breitling Pilot bracelet collection. This is a Navitimer bracelet. It's called the Navitimer Integrated, and it's specific to a small handful of watches. Now you can see that the bracelet's nicely made, substantial, all polished, with more than reasonable gaps between the links to avoid pinching skin, pulling hair, or trapping wrist heat. You can see removable links are fixed in place by screws, and we've got a couple of them on each side, plus pairs of divots drilled into the clasp, so you can use a strap tool to move the spring bar and change the anchoring point. Single fold, thick gauge, stainless steel deploying clasp. It's got a clamshell lock that folds down and keeps it secure. As you can see, it features screws and bars to retain the bracelet to the case, which is actually a more secure way of doing it than using spring bars. This screw and bar practice means that there's a lot more security on the wrist. Sometimes spring bars can come undone, and they're easy to accidentally slide in without cinching completely, which can result in a strap or a bracelet popping off. With the screws and bars, you can't make that mistake. Now you can see we have old-fashioned pump-style pushers. We have a fully blended, almost Calatrava-like profile. It actually reminds me of the size and shape of something like an IWC Big Pilot's watch. Now this watch right here was a 2011 model launch in 2,000 pieces, and the one you see here was actually sold in 2012, so right around that time frame. You can also estimate the time frame of a Breitling watch on a bracelet by checking the week and year code in there. So you can see the 24th week of 2011. So we know that this watch was made towards the beginning of the line. It is a 2011 model year limited edition, individually numbered. Now it's all high polish, so it's a little bit garish, but that was the way with Breitling back then. This is a watch for a confident man. If you want something petite, take a look at Nomos. This watch right here is also very much part of the extended Navitimer family. The Montbrillant, named after a historic address or proximity. It was actually a road on which the original Breitling manufacturer was located. It's always been a little bit more of a luxury Navitimer design, and this Montbrillant is very much that, with the logarithmic circular slide rule that was first introduced in the 1950s on the Navitimer. Of course, there was a chronomat before that, but it wasn't as sophisticated. This has everything you need for aviation, and here's the great thing about this. It's very simple to use. So two indices to remember. There's the 10 on the inner scale and the 10 on the outer scale. Now let's say I want to multiply 12 by 3. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 12, set it next to the inner index. Now I'm going to find 3, and you can see just on top of 3 we have 36, because 12 times 3 would be 36. You do have to keep the decimal in mind, depending on what order of magnitude you wish to evaluate. Now let's divide, let's do something simple just to demonstrate. Let us divide 90 by 2. it works like a fraction. You put the number to be divided over the number dividing it. So now 90 is over 2. We're going to go back to the index, and you see right over the index 45. So that's how you use it for multiplication and division. There are other applications, but that's the fundamentals. As you can see, it's deeply dished, giving the dial a different focal plane. It actually draws the eyes down toward the center where you have sunken subregisters. You have applied and polished indices with polished hands. An unusual application is most Navitimer and Montbrillant models do feature lume. This one doesn't, for a cleaner, more upscale look. Some people ask me, what is that 100 scale in the middle? And the answer is just that there are some technical and engineering applications where you need to be able to discern hundredths of seconds, and so that's what that is there for. If it were the occasionally seen 300 scale that sometimes pops up on wristwatches, is because there are also some applications that involve finding fifths of seconds, and that 300 scale makes it easier. So this is a decimator. It's very useful if, for example, you're an automotive engineer. Now, we also have a nice tone-on-tone look here with the anthracite on the silver white. We do have a hacking or stop seconds function, but all this is the Breitling caliber 23, which is based on a Valjoux 7753. The 7753 is the 7750, but with everything shifted to create a balanced dial at 9, 6, and 3. And what happens is you actually lose the quick set in the process. So here we have hacking seconds, but we don't have a quick set date. We do have a vertical clutch, though. The chronograph here uses a vertical clutch, and that system has no additional play in its operation, so it engages without any stagger or jump to the chronograph seconds hand. Now, if you look carefully, you can see we have conversion factors on the back. And remember, I told you that the Montbrillant Legende was later renamed Montbrillant 47, and this is the original version with the original nomenclature on the back. It's 30 meters water resistant. Inside, we have that 7753 unidirectional winding, 42-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 25 pivot joules, and a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, so a very accurate movement and a very, very tough one. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details. By the way, note the fun conversion factors on the back so you can figure out how many gallons equate to 1 liter. You can convert UK gallons to US gallons, all sorts of fun to keep you enthused and engaged while you're ignoring a meeting. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing.